teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Chantal's been a little bit busy wiping her presence from the internet before a certain time. Okay, so that's basically what's been going on. We had a few community tabs that went up and then went down. Essentially, she seems really concerned about the documentary that's coming out soon, within like a week or so. And she has decided, instead of trying to deal with all the stuff, to just do what she can to separate herself. And now, no, she has a new life now. I think thereby trying to render anything that comes out of the documentaries as the before times, and therefore something she can no longer be judged by. Never mind that the before times ended like a week or two ago. The point is, you can't judge her for the past, even if that past is minutes prior. Now, she did have 2 lives out when I woke up this morning. I did listen to them. It is an hour and 40 minutes of my life. I'm not getting back. There didn't seem, that was actually a bit mean, there didn't seem to be enough to make it worth recapping, to be completely honest. Other than her saying she definitely wants to travel quite soon, even though she's still getting better, which doesn't surprise me because TikTok. And more of the general theme that comes up in this mukbang. So I figured we'd watch the mukbang instead and then just go through some of this rebranding stuff. So with that in mind, let's get into it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
So
salam.
I'm eating one of my favorite meals.
Sorry, she seems a bit quiet. It might be because she's back in new life, new me mode, so she's a little bit quiet. She's got her influencer voice on. Let's try this. I'm sorry, I thought I'd sorted this out first. Apparently not.
One of the official foods of Kuwait. Definitely one of the most popular. And I'm having it from my favorite place that has this lentil soup that I love so much.
We already know what's in this meal because she's eaten it a dozen times on camera. It is 2 full meals. Like, yes, a bread bowl soup might be more of a lunch than a dinner, but you do not need both, my friend. And she is going to mention the pile of rice, and so are all of we.
And then I'm going to get into what I want to talk about. Water.
That'll make all the difference.
Beauty bite.
I find it interesting as she does this whole rebranding that 1, she's still doing mukbangs, and 2, she's still doing beauty bites. So really, the rebranding she wants to get away from is anything she doesn't want to talk about.
So? I'm, as you probably could tell,
terrified.
I was going to rush and make a community post to tell you about my changes, but I'm not making community posts anymore.
I'll hold my breath on that one, shall I? Oh, this is the reason why she can't be on TikTok though, because she is far too reactionary, and it would be a good lesson for her to learn, but she'll never learn it. Something will anger her and she'll go on to community. But it is a good lesson to put it on camera where she can earn money, so we'll see. We'll see if she can stick to that. My instinct says no, just from experience, but it would be better for her.
I'm gonna try. I've rebranded my channel.
But not your content, it seems.
Because
the documentary.
I've rebranded my life, right?
Again, she's sitting here doing a mukbang, so not rebranding that much. She did delete, I want to say 250 videos, something like that. Anything before she converted or she became a hijabi is now gone from her channel. Whereas before, she'd left up some of her hits because it was still earning her cash.
Or I'm trying to rebrand my life. So, there's raisins in here.
Yeah. So there's extra sugar with your white carbs. How is the diabetes doing? I would like to get an update from the doctor. She stopped giving us her daily sugars. I can't imagine they're good. Like, it's concerning.
I'm done.
If you were done, your life would be a lot safer, but here we are.
Trying to rebrand my life. I think y'all have noticed, because I get so many comments on this, like...
Notice that she edited that. So unlike that one where she was super angry, now she's just a little bit nervous. So she's editing for us so we don't have to just have these big pauses. Even though we've still got the little ones.
We miss the old Chantal, Foodie Beauty. You're more boring now. You've lost your fun spark. And
I'm not necessarily sure people were there for her fun spark to begin with. We've had moments, like I've always said that I really liked her time travel mukbangs. I felt like that was fun, and I would have enjoyed her staying on that kind of path because it was something you could have fun with. I remember getting dressed up for her 1920s one, and I genuinely enjoyed it. Like, it was something you could do with her. But there isn't that kind of intent with her content anymore, and she does have a problem laughing at herself a lot of the time. And as her health issues and as her personality really have been more forcefully at the front of everything takes on kind of a darker tone. And we're in a different place than we were in the middle of the pandemic, where we did just have nothing but time and it was more entertainment. But she just got more problematic as the years went on. Like, imagine if she had just stuck to that and it had been simple.
I promise you, it's not something that I'm forcing, like this change.
I don't know, this change feels pretty forced. You went in and scrubbed your channel.
I've still had my moments there.
By having your moments, you mean running halfway across the world because Salah contacted Ibiza? Yeah, that was a moment. That was certainly a moment. It was a recent moment. I'm such a hunchback.
For the most part, I just feel like my interests have changed a lot. My way of thinking about life.
I don't think she's necessarily changed that much. I don't even think, like, yes, she covers herself on camera now, but the thinking, the jokes she makes with her Ibizas, the talk she puts online when she's angry, there's no real internal change there, I don't think.
I'm more calm. That's why I'm not as
No, you're not.
Hyper and weird as before.
No, you're not high all the time. That's true, but you're not calm. Have you not seen your channel?
I'm almost 40, so
yeah, you are.
I feel like I've grown up a little bit in that respect.
I wouldn't say that.
So I feel like I've like calmed down and like toned down in that respect.
I wouldn't say there's evidence of that online. I would say she's not putting it all out there, but it's a little bit late for that. But in the metaphorical sense, not the physical, she still puts it all out there. Her first instinct is to run online to talk about things. Because where else is she going to go?
Which I know you guys are not used to. But
well, you'd have to show the change for us to get used to it.
It's so good.
You'd have to be consistent in the change. Do excuse me.
I know. More rice. I know you hate carbs. I get it.
This is why I left this in, but she's got half a chicken and then the pile of rice, look how much bigger it is, and the whole bread bowl, because that's a loaf of bread. You don't have to hate carbs to see that this is maybe not sustainable. And when you add the knowledge that Chantal gave us, which was that she's diabetic, and the complete lack of health updates on the diabetes and the blood sugar, it's not us hating carbs. She likes to simplify things down to their basic, well, you just hate everything. No, this is directly against anything your doctor told you to do. Like, this isn't just, oh, I'm beezing, this is dangerous for you.
I'm not going to eat all this rice.
The hell you aren't, madam. And even if you didn't in this sitting, if you save it for later, you're still consuming it.
Probably do some damage, but... So whenever I took my shahada...
I'm just going to skip the rest of this, but this is her swearing in.
And I did that the first time I came to Kuwait.
Was it the first or was it the beginning of the second? I thought she'd gone back and then come back again. I might be misremembering, to be fair. Because I thought she had done the marriage thing when she came back. When she came back in the January. Oh, no. Because she would have had to swear in before they could get married. No, okay. I'm misremembering, excuse me. The timeline's been so interesting recently because one of the fallouts, which was the exact opposite of what she wanted to happen here, which is why it's happening, is that with her obviously trying to hide things from her past, it's just encouraging the rest of the community to bring it back up. So a lot of people are putting out retro content, talking about the things that she's trying to cover.
Because I wanted to be married.
Foodie, no, the bread!
Woman.
She just stuck her spoon straight through the soft side of that bread. When she did this, when she picked it up, I was like, is that going to spill? If it's going to go soft, like, is it going to keep its way in? Keep its way in? That's a weird way to say that. Like, isn't it going to go through? Just straight through the soft side. And it just sits there for a while because she doesn't notice right away.
Officially. So I took my shahada. When I did that, you fill out a form and they ask you if you want to change your name. Like,
everywhere.
To a Muslim name. And I did, but I never like used it until now.
Oh, that reminds me of something she said in her live, actually. I think somebody was questioning her about the Muslim name because she said that's her legal name now. I have no problem with her changing her name. She can be known by anything she wants to be. But someone asked her, I think it was, is her name on her ID or not? You know, the residence ID she's meant to have. And she said something like, well, only I know what's on my ID. And I was like, no, because your residence ID would have whatever your legal ID had on it. So, because that's how they connect you to your identity. So your residence ID would have Chantal on it. Because it would be based on your passport, but your right to get an ID would be presumably based on your marriage, even though those types of visas are not currently available. But we won't get into that again. So why the mystery, I don't know, other than the fact that, oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm not confirming anything. Whatever is on her passport will be on her imaginary ID.
And they said, you know, ask your husband what name he would like you to take. And if you like it as well.
I love how she stopped, looked at the camera, was like, and if you like it as well. She realised suddenly that sounded a bit like he was naming a pet, I think. Ask your husband what he'd like to name you. Now, if this were actually the serious thing that it should be, I would expect, a conversation with Salah and talk about like, oh yeah, hi, what are the Muslim names? What are the meanings? I'd love to discuss this with you. A bit like when you name a baby, you know, if you are going into a new life the way you're supposed to be with this conversion, whatever you want to call it, I'm not against her talking to people more in the know of, oh, well, what are some of the common names? What are their meanings? I'd expect it to happen before the Shahada because you would know that coming in. It's like giving birth to a baby and then going like, oh, we should probably think of names. I've just realised what I freeze-framed this on. I apologise. So I'm not against this whole kind of feminist thing of, oh, you asked your husband to name you, but it was just funny to see her clock how that was going to sound.
God, you can change your name.
Can you... Hun, you have a fork. Eating with your hands is a common thing here, but God, she just tears into it. She was not raised eating with her hands. It's not the end of the world to use the fork you already have.
But I have my legal name, and then I have my Muslim name.
The soup's just still sitting there congealing. Did she not notice the level going down? I shouldn't be this obsessed over it.
My soup leaked everywhere.
Yeah, now you realise?
So yeah, the majority of my audience just like wants me to go back to Canada, wants me to go back to the same life, like maybe not exact same, but
I think the majority of our audience wants more interest. Because the problem is, and this is a problem she's actually having, she had that community post up before saying like, my channel's a mess, what do you want? Because she has no intent for her channel other than for it to exist and earn her coin, I think we all, her included, get bored of what's going on. Because her audience know the current persona she's putting on is not real. Because we've seen the real one. And it's fine to say, okay, I'm trying to work on myself and change myself, but it's not the instant thing she's trying to instill here. And I think if she had a much more honest progression of that, it would be much more interesting content. But if you're not going to plan your content so that it has a purpose, then you better have enough mess in your life to fill the interest. And so by taking the mess out, she's just left with kind of nothing. Because what else does she fill her life with, really? She doesn't have hobbies, she doesn't have a wide circle of friends. The religious aspect of this, which seems to be what she's leaning into a little bit, she hasn't really taken time to build those relationships within that community. Because she talks about like, oh, I went to a mosque and this is how I built up to reverting into Islam. But she has admitted since that she hasn't been back to the mosque. She prays at home. And anytime she's had a large issue in her life, she hasn't sought out the help from community members. She doesn't have an imam. She doesn't have a group of people that might support her in this big change. She doesn't seem to be going to lessons. She said that she wants to put an aim on reading X amount of pages of the Quran during Ramadan, but you get the impression that she hasn't been doing that yet. It's just something she's been planning to do in the future. She might pray. We've seen her pray on occasion. Just knowing her personality and her history, I doubt she's doing it consistently. But I've known Muslims that have missed prayers for various reasons before. So it's not like you miss one and they chuck you out. But the only concrete change we've seen her persist with has been her hijab. So to look at what such a religious change in her life would mean, and then to say, well, there's no evidence of this, and the way you are carrying on online doesn't adhere to, it would seem, the goals and the expectations of behavior, and her to go, well, I'm not perfect. Well, no, you're not perfect, but right now you don't seem to be trying, because intent counts for so much. If you're honestly trying to do something and you fail, God will understand your intent, but the intent doesn't seem to be there, and the willingness to put in the work to learn about these things doesn't seem to be there. So when she talks about us all being hateful and judgmental, no, we've just got eyes. And do we know everything about being Muslim? No. But you don't need to know very much to see a massive disconnect with what she presents versus what she claims to present. Which is why no one's taking this very seriously, even if she were able to be consistent with it.
The days of being in the kitchen, in the villa, like all that's gone. It's not ever coming back.
Okay, but what are you replacing it with?
This is a new phase of my life.
Okay, new era. If she was serious about this era, it would have happened. God, has it been 2 years since she came to Kuwait? It feels like it's been a while. Maybe it's only been a year and I'm forgetting. If this were gonna stick, she would have already made those changes. This isn't like a diet you fail. You may not be perfect, but you change your life. She has not, it seems, in any way. Because ultimately, she can be in a different part of the world, but it's the same four walls.
I love Islam. I love my life here. I love the culture. I love Kuwait.
Okay, and that's fine. I want people to love their life, but for somebody who loves their life so much, you don't seem to be engaging in it very much.
I love the Middle East.
Good.
I want to be out there in the world. Like I said, I don't want to go back to what I experienced before already.
But it was your choice to do that. Not necessarily in how Nada treated her at first, but she chose to go back. But taking that out of the equation, because I know the idea of victimhood is a very sensitive one. There's a lot of nuance in it. Everything she has done has been a result of her own choices. And when she went back, and when she went to Thailand, and when she went anywhere where that choice became possible again, she chose it. So changing your life doesn't necessarily mean changing your location. The location can help. The fact that she can't get drugs there helps. How has she really revolutionized her life here? What big changes has she made? Because with or without the weed, it still just seems to be this.
So, for those of you who are still here,
Yeah.
if you're going to continue to watch my content, you'll have to accept that. It's going to be different. And this.
Once again, I don't need to accept or to do anything as a viewer. You can make it different. You absolutely have a right to make it different. Be the change that you say you want in your life. Because that at least would be interesting. But you don't get to tell me or anybody else watching what we have to do or think or feel. Because that's not the way it works. Present whatever you want to present and we will have opinions on it.
This is the new me.
The new you looks a lot like the old you, I'm not gonna lie.
There'll be no more discussing other people, drama.
She says that. That is a promise she's made us before. In her live, she was trying to stay away from it, but did still mention, hypocritical people. Like, she's still got the anger, so it will come out eventually.
All of those things that Islam is against. I privated all my videos that have my former hair.
Yes, you
Like I
did.
said, my hair doesn't look like that anymore.
Well, we'll never know, will we?
Anything too, like where my, all my old videos basically.
But she's definitely not running away, you guys. This is all just an effort to divorce herself from her past. I think because the documentary is going to come out in stages, and the first one is going to be mainly like the BB era, I do believe. It's more the genesis of her. I don't believe we'll get that much of a reaction, depending, of course, exactly on how it's presented. Because I think the beginning will be more sympathetic to her, because she has changed over the years, for the worse, but she's changed. And a lot of her crazier stuff came kind of a little bit later. There was some stuff with BB, like the cheese graveyard, but a lot of the stuff is kind of more current than that. When people pity her, as much as she tries to grab for it when she's playing victim, she doesn't like it unless she's asking for it, if that makes sense. Because when people genuinely do look and go, oh, that sounds awful, she feels uncomfortable. Because I'm sure it makes her reflect and go, oh yeah, it didn't feel very good. And she doesn't like that at all. Ultimately, she wants to be in control of the feelings she's eliciting, and she won't be. But I do think this is all, one, to make it more difficult to research her, but the community will step in. There's videos of her everywhere. And I do think we have managed to scare Mr. Snowflake off Twitter. Sorry, dude. If we did, apologies on behalf of all of us. We do get quite enthusiastic. Don't be freaked out. But it's a lot. It's a lot to have the whole community turn and focus on you. So I get why maybe he wants to take a bit of a step back. But right now, all Chantal is trying to do is to get herself into a position where she can say, well, that's not me anymore. Because she can't argue any of the things she's done in the past. She has tried, and it never ends well for her. So rather than acknowledging, yes, I did all those things and some of them were terrible, she could just say, well, that's my past.
Already I've seen a lot of people saying, well, this will kill your channel. This is killing your channel. Good.
It's actively been
good
killing
luck
her
with
channel
that.
for a year now.
I don't live my life with my channel, like, in mind. Like,
She absolutely does.
of course I think, oh, I wonder how this will affect my channel, but I don't make decisions in my life based on how many numbers. Like, I don't chase numbers.
She absolutely chases numbers. Dude, she moved to the other side of the world in a couple of weeks because she met a guy she wanted to do a couples channel with. She absolutely changes her life for her channel. She paid her ex-abuser to continue the couple channel with her. The idea of being one of those social media couples has always been one of her major goals. Now, how much she cares about the numbers are on the up right now. She's been getting attention. If she got that play button, she'd be so happy. And the somewhat irony of the fact that she wouldn't be able to put it up because it would be in Canada. But if she received it, a lifelong dream fulfilled. We'd be having a Canada bee so fast.
It would be very fake of me to do that, you know?
Yeah, it would be very fake of you. Notice how we're not shocked.
Adopt a belief system and religion based on what other people want me to do and expect from me.
No, adopt a belief system and a religion based on how special it makes you feel. Chantal has tried again and again to find as many ways as possible to make her disenfranchised in some kind of way. To be able to have an excuse to say, well, you just hate me because I'm fat. You just hate me because of my religion. You just hate me because of these things. Because it simplifies the whole emotional process of having to reflect on herself and her own part in her decisions. So it doesn't surprise me at all that she would have chosen, if not a religion, something. It doesn't have to have been this, it just happened to be this. I remember a while back saying she's prime to be like a cult member because she'd be taken in so easily, and then she'd be able to argue with everybody. Well, you just hate me because you don't understand, because you are hateful of this thing. But again, if I'm wrong, this would be a really good opportunity to open this channel up to the changes you have made in your life. But you've been trying to do this for a year or so, and we haven't seen any of them. That whole list I gave you about building relationships within your faith, that'd be a great place to start, and that'd actually be interesting. But it doesn't seem to be where you are. I would love to hear about lessons she was going to and guidance she was receiving, because it would actually be interesting to see a foreigner coming from a history integrating into that particular part of society in the Middle East, because that is something that I don't have experience with. I am not I am not a religious person. Sorry, everybody. But that is an element of the Middle East that, while I live with evidence of the religion all around me, while I work with people who are of the faith, it's part of the Middle East I will never go through. I'll respect it, but I won't be part of it. But she's not really making any changes to integrate herself more in that way, especially considering she's claiming she's going to be here forever, whatever I might think of that. The hole in the bowl just gets bigger.
That's why I rebranded my channel.
Let's see how long this lasts, eh? Also, a lesson she didn't learn from the past. I do believe when she rebranded her channel that she thereby abandoned her handle on the channel, and last time she did that, someone in the community picked it up. And can you think she's going to go through all of her old videos and change the links to that handle? It's asking for trouble.
The content won't change much, like...
Great rebranding. Content won't change. Okay, so what are we doing then?
I'm still gonna do live streams and stuff like that.
She spent most of the live stream talking about horror movies and food.
A little bit better, and I'll be able to do a lot more. Show you guys around Kuwait.
And you say better. The Kuwaiti videos didn't really catch on.
Show you guys different places of the world, inshallah.
Yeah, well, it's the 10th of February. Keep going. She's got till the beginning of April, I do believe. Knowing how unclean she generally is, watching her lick her fingers is so much worse.
Day in the life videos.
But your life is this. When you say day in the life, where are you going?
My life is not very exciting.
It doesn't have to be exciting. I think she made the point either... Oh, maybe it'll be now. Let's listen.
It's pretty domestic right now. So...
Okay, but domestic would be you taking care of the house, you taking care of the meals. Because at the very least, you could say, okay, I'm meal prepping this, I'm balancing that, I'm doing a house budget, I'm doing this clean with me, whatever. I'm not saying it would be the most interesting content, but she had some of that content back in Canada, and there is, to a point, an audience for it. She could do shopping on a budget in Kuwait, because who is it that also does reacts to the dollar store mums? Is it Zachary Michaels? I don't watch Twitch. So, but I do believe he has a channel over there where he reacts to like dollar store moms and stuff. There are things she could do in Kuwait that would be part of domestic life, but she doesn't bring those into her channel either. So she's saying, I won't do the mess that got me the audience, but I don't want to make the effort to do anything else. Oh, and buy on a budget in Kuwait. I don't just mean the grocery haul she does, although that could be part of it. I mean, like, actually... I'm meal planning this is what I want to get, this is how much it costs when I'm actually planning my stuff. Because then some people could relate to that.
So yeah, rebranding my life, rebranding my channel as a result, because my channel is usually about me, right?
But you just said the content wasn't going to change.
Undergo a change, especially if I have such a big lifestyle change as I do.
But you just said it wasn't going to change.
The lifestyle I had in Canada. Sorry for the messy soup eyesore. Still delicious. I just feel more calm and at peace, and...
Me with my rookie mistake of thinking there was an ending to that sentence. I mean, it's not the first time she said that she's felt more at peace. I wish it were true. I wish it were true, because then maybe she could change her life, and wouldn't that be amazing? But... she said it before, and we've seen no change, and within a day or two, she breaks and she rages. I'm of the opinion that that will happen again. We might get another week of it while she kind of waits for the other shoe to drop so she can watch the documentary and see exactly what's coming out of it. Because right now, she doesn't know. So she's just sort of battering down the hatches and preparing for a storm.
And it might seem very weird, but
What, you been at
that's
home?
how I feel, you know?
Or you being calm?
And all of these changes are my own.
How do you mean? Who else's would they be?
Nobody else's.
I think what she's trying to say here is there's no outside influence to it, which I'm sorry, X'd it out.
Like, not my husband's.
Not the documentary I'm refusing to acknowledge.
This is how I feel.
It's very convenient this feeling came on right as this whole documentary thing started gathering steam.
Not much more to say about that. I'll save the rest.
Well, for you to turn off the camera, that's still a lot of rice.
But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and explain. You're probably wondering, who's Miriam?
No, you have done this before. Are you forgetting?
It's my Muslim name change from when I took my Shahada, became Muslim.
Yes, we know. We were there. She does fall into the trap of thinking when she changes her mind and seals everything off, she automatically gets a new audience that she can fool. Darling, we've been here for the whole thing.
That's that.
Excuse the cut, I'm coughing again, I'm gonna go take my medicine.
The explanation, the long-winded explanation, but had to have dinner anyway, so. I mean, if my content, my life is not your thing anymore, I totally get that.
I'm definitely not mad, you guys, but you know, don't like it, don't watch. Just go somewhere else. I understand. I understand.
You know, that's fine. I have to live my life.
Are we stopping you? We couldn't if we tried.
Not just
We've tried. A lot of reactors started more sympathetic, longer term reactors that have been with her since she was nicer or she presented herself as being nicer. I started off a lot more sympathetic, right? We are incapable of having you change your life. That is down to you. So to say you've got to live your life, well, of course you've got to. Who could stop you at this point? Any suggestion you get just makes you more determined to do the opposite.
Chasing numbers or doing things for clout or whatever. I want to do things, be genuine to myself, and only I can decide what that is.
Okay, so decide, because you don't seem to know what you're doing.
I feel like I am where I need to be right now, so.
What, in front of a ruined dinner? With your blood sugar probably sky high, telling the people whose views help to pay your bills that you're not going to share any of the life that you definitely have behind the scenes. I'm all for getting offline if you need the time, but get offline if you need the time.
Anyway, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye. Okay, and that's all we have. We will see how long this attempt lasts. Historically, it hasn't been long, but we shall see. I think we'll get more movement once the documentary comes out. If she can wait that long. If it ends up being a week or more, then chances are she's gonna lose momentum with this particular attempt, because that's what's happened before. I don't know if it sounds mean, but you know, we have to learn from history here in a way that Chantal herself seems to struggle with. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.